me? For real? Oh. You can call from the Bahamas using Rev Boy's prepaid home phone service and prepaid chat cards for much less.
Hey girl, are you ready?
You get free unlimited on-island calls, voicemail, and no internet service or ID is required.
Hello?
Rev Boy's prepaid home phone service and prepaid chat cards.
Hey, vai bien.
Staying in touch never sounded so good.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned in to MB12, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios. Coming up tonight in news, an 18-year-old man arrested in connection with the rape of a pastor's wife. The increase in shanty towns angers some Bahamians living near those villages. The Atlantis Resort takes tourists on a wild run this summer, plus a new phase for Cable Bahamas. We've got those stories and so much more. I'm Voni Toot, and MB12 starts now. Tonight, the man wanted in connection with the alleged rape of a pastor's wife is behind bars tonight. Commissioner of Police Alison Greenslade confirmed to NB12 that a suspect was arrested on Monday. He says he is confident police have the right man. The incident, which happened on Saturday, sent shockwaves through the religious community, prompting church leaders to offer a $10,000 reward.
It could not be more grave.
As police prepare to bring charges against the 18-year-old East Street man arrested in connection with the alleged rape of a pastor's wife, a group of prominent pastors is speaking out against the incident. Commissioner of Police Alison Greenslade told us today that with the community's help, uniformed officers who are familiar with the area arrested the young man on Monday. He says the pastor's wife was cleaning the church on Saturday in preparation for the church's Father's Day service when she was raped. He said police have done their due diligence in this matter and expect the suspect to be charged in the magistrate's court this week. Meantime, over at Mount Calvary Baptist Church, 3 pastors expressed outrage.
And imagine your wife, because some of our wives leave home 6 o'clock in the morning for prayer meeting on Saturdays. And most of the time when they do leave home, I am in my bed sometimes sleeping. But they go because they've been called to ministry. And when they get here, they meet outsiders standing up and all of that. We pray and we ask God's protection, but at the same time, they could be people who want to take advantage of our wives.
Reverend Philip McPhee, who was joined by Bishop Ross Davis and retired senior pastor of New Covenant Baptist Church, Bishop Simeon Hall, offered a $10,000 reward today to anyone who would come forward with information that led to the arrest and conviction of the person who committed what they called a heinous act. They were not aware that a suspect was already in custody. Bishop Davis says the family is well known in the religious community and the incident has left pastors' wives in shock.
We are here for the pastors' wives because every pastor's wife is affected by this.
Bishop Paul says this incident highlights the blatant disregard some men have for women and the church.
This heinous act certainly depicts the depravity to which some of our young men have sunk.
Referring to the National Security Minister's recent revelation that 354 people charged with murder got bail over a 6-year period and that 49 people charged with murder were released over the past 13 months, Hall says government now needs to do more than talk.
And so we want to ask Minister Nottage in particular to go ahead with the amnesty period and try to get guns off the street, and to also we might have to look again at the Bail Act.
Reverend McPhee says the fear of crime has risen to the point where their congregants no longer attend night church services, which were very popular.
You have people right now, ladies and people around, who are refusing to drive their cars at night, afraid to death. You realize that that night churches meetings are at a minimum in the history of this country, simply because people are afraid to go out to church at night.
More than a month after a jury found that Aaron Roll was unlawfully killed while in police custody, Acting Coroner Janine Weish Gomez made 5 recommendations to Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson, aimed at preventing a similar occurrence. Today, the Roll family's lawyer Christina Galano said the next step is filing a civil suit. Jasmine Barnaby reports.
The coroner's recommendations in the Roll case were handed down yesterday, and copies forwarded to Commissioner of Police Alison Greenslade and Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson. She suggested that the file be forwarded to the police commissioner to direct the Complaints and Corruption Unit to conduct disciplinary proceedings against the officers. The acting coroner also recommended that cameras be installed at every police station at the entrance to the cell block, and that there be mandatory videotaping of suspects to ensure procedures are followed. Additionally, she recommended that the cameras be monitored and controlled by a separate department at police headquarters or elsewhere. She also recommended that police officers be trained in the proper restraint of suspects every 2 to 3 years. Galano says for the most part she agrees with those recommendations, but wishes the law granted the coroner more jurisdiction on the matter.
However, I feel as if criminal liability should attach to the proceedings. I would hope that the act would be revamped to give the coroner the power to specifically recommend that those found involved in unlawful killings will be prosecuted. I definitely intend to proceed on the civil side on behalf of the family, and I will wait to see, given these recommendations, what the Office of the Attorney General decides to do.
Roll died at the Southern Police Station on February 9th, 2 days after his arrest on suspicion of armed robbery and escape. Constables 2126 Akil Smith and 2468 Carl Smith said they had to forcefully restrain Roll when he attempted to escape from the second floor of the station through a louvered aluminum window. A pathologist concluded that he died from hemorrhaging and a ruptured intestine caused by blunt force trauma to the abdomen. The 20-year-old's family members sat through every day of the proceedings and says while they will pursue the matter through civil action, they also want to see the officers prosecuted by the Attorney General's office.
The Office of the Attorney General is in charge of prosecutions, and I would like to see due process take its course, and I hope that they would make the obvious decision to move forward with the prosecution. I would like to see that happen. I do not intend to jump the gun and usurp their powers at this stage. A private prosecution is a way to bring it before the courts, but I'm hopeful that that would not be necessary.
The officers with an interest in the case are still on paid administrative leave. Yesterday, Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage noted that police plan to install CCTV cameras in every police station on New Providence and Grand Bahama in the upcoming fiscal year. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
Government recently compiled a report on shanty towns throughout New Providence to shed light on the people in those communities and their living conditions, which were noted in the report as extremely unhealthy. The report indicated there are at least 15 Haitian shanty towns on the island. Tonight, residents living near those villages weigh in on this controversial issue. Royston Jones reports.
Several residents who live near this Haitian community on Seabreeze Lane expressed concern that the community is devaluing their property. Meantime, residents who live just blocks away from the Faith Avenue Haitian community said similar things and also say there needs to be less talk and more action. A resident of Seabreeze Lane who lives just feet away from the shanty town said it is unfair that the community has been able to exist for so long despite the illegalities surrounding the Haitian community.
What I think it does, especially the area, devalues the area. You know, you may have a home that value maybe over $300,000, but then again you have, anyone coming and building shanty homes and it doesn't really have any proper running water or toilets. I think it really degrades the area, and especially for the most of the residents in the area. So that's my biggest concern, of course. And of course, we have to pay property tax there and they're in the same area, and it doesn't happen.
Those views were shared by Demetrius Todd, who said although his home is directly adjacent to the shanty village and is a wooden structure, he holds a title deed to the land and two-story structure.
Opposite us is considered the shanty town. Some persons consider this whole area the shanty town because of the wooden structured homes, but this is two separate individual properties. In reference to the shanty town area, you have a few persons over there who are residents of the country who have citizenship and stuff like that. I know a settled lady who has occupancy in a home on that side. She have the proper utilities. I'm kind of concerned of what would happen to those persons, but at the same time, you have some persons who are violating the laws of the country, not going through the proper steps to consider and have the proper building code enforced. So I think the house do affect some houses in the area in terms of bringing down their values, and that's a concern to me.
More recently, Minister of Environment Kenred Dorset has promised the government will crack down on Haitian communities just like these. It's unclear what will happen to the displaced residents of this community, but one family says they will have nowhere to go. What made you live here and made you live in this community?
I live in the shanty town because I don't have a job, first of all. And I have 5 kids, and I can't afford to pay an apartment.
Last week, Dorset said a new protocol of operations has been established to deal with shanty towns, and all the relevant agencies, including Works, Social Services, National Security, and Immigration, have been put on notice. Several residents residing between Faith Avenue and Samoila Butler Highway say resolution to the issue is long overdue.
Yes, I think it's long overdue. I think it's gotten out of hand. It's something that should have been done a long time ago.
Just a fire hazard. They're always starting fires. So it's annoying where the smoke is coming into the house, making everything smoky. That's about it.
And although you don't have a problem with it, do you think the government should be doing something about it?
Yes, they should. They should. Because they squatting on other people's land. That's annoying to me too.
While most residents say the time has come for government to take immediate action, they said there is a human side to this issue, and consideration should be given to where the people who now occupy these shanty towns would live if they are forced to move. Reporting for NB12, I'm Royston Jones.
Coming up after the break, the F&M hits out at government over diplomatic appointments. The details of that story and more after this break.